Have you ever wondered what games you should keep or you should lose? Find out here at Purge Reviews.
So the game's going to be set up. You're going to have a panoramic that you're going to try to get. So you're going to try to get all 6 of these. That will end the game. Each one of these will be worth a number of victory points, and the 6th one is worth quite a bit more than the 5th. And you'll have a stack of these based on the number of players available. So you have to buy 1 before you buy 2, before you buy 3, before you buy 5. Also, if all the tiles are placed on the board, you'll be placing these tiles, greens, then browns, then the rocky ones. Once all these are out, that could end the game. So 2 of 3, building a panoramic, putting all the tiles out, or somebody putting out all their stones, that will trigger the end of the game. At the end of the game, then you'll add up your victory points that you have on these cards. You'll have victory points, which I'll explain, for putting stones out. And you have some camping cards that look like this, and some of these will have victory points. So for every blueberries you have is 5 victory points. For every one of the camping tokens you get is 3. For every endorphin you have, you get a victory point. So those are other ways to score victory points. Whoever has the most victory points at the end of the game is the winner. Everybody's going to start out with a hand of cards. I'll show you what the starting cards do. This one's very simple. You move your person 1 space. You can play your card down, move 1 space. When you stop on a space, you get that goodie. So in this case, I would get one of these. I would put it in my backpack. And of course, I can only hold so many before it's full. Instead of that, I could play this one, very simple, just like the one I just played, except for, let's say I was here, you can move 2 spaces. So instead of getting this, I would get a mushroom. And that will help you move around the board a little bit quicker. Now, it's important to note that when it says 1 or 2, it's not up to. It's exactly that in the mini stasis. You have a card like this. This card right here will let you buy one of the face-up cards. So let's say I wanted to buy this card. This card will let me move 4 spaces. I would have to have 4 endorphins in order to buy that. If I wanted to buy this one, which let me clears out the deck and then get another one, it would cost me 1 endorphin. This one right here, for 3 endorphins, I could buy this. This lets me go anywhere, 1 space, even if there's not a trail on it. So I can go through like the woods and stuff. So that's pretty neat. So that's what this card is going to do. Or I can discard a card from my hand. It can't be one of the starter cards, one of the cards that you buy, and I can get 2 endorphins for my trouble. This one allows me to put another tile out. So if I'm on this tile, anywhere on that tile, I can take the next tile and add it to one of the corners. So I could go here, and when I do, I get 2 mushrooms. Maybe I'd want to put it here, and I would get 2 blueberries. I'm not going to be on that location. Anywhere on this tile, I can play this down, and then I get those goodies. So I'm going to get 2 blueberries right off the bat for that. And that would go into my backpack. If I didn't want to do that, I could give up 1 of these, mushroom, berry, or the wheat, as many as I wanted to, and I get 1 endorphin each. The last one allows me to buy one of these panoramic cards. So for example, the first panoramic card would cost me 1 berry, 1 mushroom, and 1 wheat, which I happen to have. So I would give those up to the supply, and I would gain this panoramic, and I'd be starting on my way. I would get 2 endorphins for my trouble. Now, let's say I couldn't afford that or didn't want to purchase one for whatever reason. I can just take 2 endorphins. And this back here lets me pick up all my cards. So it's important to note that I don't have to use all my cards before I pick them up, but I can't pick that card up and use it again until I play this card and pick it up. So no time during the game can you ever discard one of your starting cards. Now, the trick to the game is going to be to get these cards. For example, this one will let me trade 2 of the sweet in for a bag of flour. I put 1 in my backpack and 1 in my location. So these will be cards, equipment cards, that will change the rules of the game up and make things easier for you as you're moving around. Some of these spots on the board that you'll go to will be like this, where it says if I give up 3 mushrooms, I get a basket. And those baskets are going to be really, really important because as you get here in the higher level ones, they're going to be required on these cards. Another thing that's really important are these locations right here. You play 2 berries and a wheat, and you get to put out 1 of these trails. Each one's going to have a different colored back, so this one right here is going to be a green back. You can also see it from the front of it. So I will grab one of these, which has a green back, and I can place it in between 2 tiles, kind of filling in that location. When I do that, I get one of the scoring chits, the badges, that says, hey, I discovered this, and I get 3 victory points for my trouble. As you get up into the higher ones, they're going to be worth more and more points. So a forest one will be worth 6, and a mountain one will be worth 12. So they can definitely jump up for you in the victory points. What these locations are going to do, really they do nothing when you place them. You just get the victory point for placing them out, and you're good. If you're able to get to that location, that's great. Then you can put one of your stones out there, and you can choose whatever stone you want. And if you look closely, you can see that even though they're the same number on them, one's bigger than the other. That's for gameplay purposes. So what I can do at that location, I can choose whichever one I want to put. Say I want to put this one out, the 2. That means at the end of the game, I'm going to get 2 victory points times 2. That's going to be worth 4 victory points. And it's going to give me a free equipment card that I can pick up here for free. That's what this one is going to do. Now, let's say somebody else came along and they were going to go there also. They can put another one. They can put their own little scoring on it as long as it's smaller. So this is the smaller of the times 2. The yellow person could not come through and put the big yellow on it because it's bigger than the one I have. So sometimes you can be very strategic about which of these stones you're putting out. Obviously, if I put the smallest one, nobody else can go there. It's only worth 2 points to me. Or if I put maybe the small one of the blues, that's worth 4, but then I'll have it to place somewhere else. Maybe I want to block a more powerful or more high-scoring spot. So those are decisions that you'll make during the game. Now, most of the game is going to be using the cards to move around, getting the stuff that you land on, and being able to trade them in to get the higher scoring cards. Like this one costs 2 finished baskets, a blueberry, and a bag of flour. So that one's going to be a big one. You can see this one, you don't have to combine anything. It's just a blueberry, mushroom, and a wheat, which you get. But here I got to convert them into things. So it can be a little bit more difficult as the game progresses. And it's going to be sprawling out as you put all of the tiles down. And you can see that there's a bunch of these that will be added to the board. So the board will be really big, and you'll be going to other locations. One thing to note is that somebody's on a spot. Let's say you can move 4, 1, 2, 3, 4. No, if somebody's in a spot, it doesn't count. So it'll be 1, 2, 3, 4. Whenever you land on a spot with somebody else, it doesn't count as one of the spaces that you're moving to. Now, whenever you get a campfire card, and you'll get these from the board, you always draw 5 of these. You're going to get to keep 1. Whichever one you want. Some of them will give you power. So, for example, whenever I lay down one of these rocks tiles, I can lay down 2 instead. It doesn't give me any victory points, but that, in effect, will. This one allows me to move 2 spaces, but every time I stop, I get the goodie. So usually if I move 2 spaces, I would only get the spot that I land on. When I have this power, whenever I move over a spot, I'm going to get both locations. You can see that could be a nice power to have. And then some of them are just going to give you victory points. For every basket I have at the end of the game, 5 victory points. For every one of these blue cards I'm able to get, 5 victory points. For every endorphin I have at the game, 1 victory point. So early on in the game, you're probably going to take the power, and then later on in the game, you'll probably take the scoring opportunities. And that's just another decision that you're going to have in this game. And that's a quick overview of how you play 5 Peaks.